Alright, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Ogi with your virtual lecture for this wonderful snow day. So, first off, we're going to be talking about the end of World War II and specifically looking at the dropping of the atomic bombs on Japan. So, first off, early in World War II in 1945, in May, there's Victory in Europe Day, where the Allies, the British, the Americans, and the Soviet Union defeat the Nazi Germany and Hitler. This is wonderful because Hitler is a terrible person and absolutely horrible person that has killed over 6 million Jewish peoples as well as gay and political enemies, essentially. So what leads us up to the dropping of the atomic bomb later in August of 1945? Well, the United States wins this key decisive victory against the Empire of Japan, called the Battle of Okinawa in mid-1945. This now allows us to have a very easy way to attack the Japanese homeland directly. And it's the bloodiest battle in the entirety of the Pacific Theater. Also from the Yalta Convention, where the big three, Stalin, Roosevelt, and Churchill met. After the defeat of Nazi Germany, the Soviet Union would actually come into play in the Pacific Theater and assist America fighting against Japan. Now, remember, America is not so keen on this communist idea. They really hate the communists. The Soviet Union is really just allies of convenience because Nazi Germany, Japan, Italy were actually just the bigger threat at the moment when America got involved in the war. So here are some perspectives on dropping the bomb. There are three main perspectives. The first ones are the scientists who created the bomb. This is Oppenheimer, Albert Einstein also. They all thought the bomb should not be dropped because of the massive amount of destruction that could have happened, or that it causes, essentially. You're literally unleashing the power of the sun, and you're splitting the smallest of molecules that are known to human existence. President Truman, at this point in time, all he wants is a quick end to the war. He wants to stop. He sees that we've won the war in Europe. He sees how fanatical the Japanese are, especially in defending their own homeland, and he just wants to end the war. He doesn't want this to keep continuing. He sees that that American people are starting to get tired of the war as well. And thirdly is the Secretary of War, Stimson. Well, this man Stimson, he is rightfully the Secretary of War because he just says, hey, let's drop it. Doesn't care about any consequences. He says, let's just drop it. The Japanese have earned these consequences for attacking Pearl Harbor, for committing atrocities throughout Southeast Asia and the Philippines, and their poor treatment of Americans and other Westerners, such as the British and the French, who were in the colonies that Japan took over. So these are the three main perspectives of dropping the atomic bomb from the United States. So here's the aftermath of the bomb. The first target was the city of Hiroshima, which is on the southwestern portion of Japan, of the main island called Honshu. A lot of people, there's been an interesting debate over why Hiroshima was chosen, but Hiroshima was actually chosen for twofold. One, it was a major shipping, or not necessarily shipping yards, but it was a major manufacturing place for Japanese weapons. Not that the weapons weren't good, but a lot of Japanese weapons were made and ammunition were made in Hiroshima, but also a vast majority of the people there had no direct involvement in that manufacturing and were just civilians. So the Japanese Empire is actually sort of taking advantage of the fact that Americans and the Westerners at beginning of the war, did not really target civilian targets at the beginning of the year or beginning of the war. But that started to change, especially in Western Europe. Now, and the second target is Nagasaki. Nagasaki was actually not the initial target. It's actually the third target that was given. And the other two cities, which unfortunately I cannot recall the names of off the top of my head, were lucky enough that they were cloudy. It was cloudy. The people in the bombers could not tell where they needed to drop the bombs, so they chose Nagasaki as their tertiary target. The immediate effects: 100,000 people are literally vaporized by both of these bombs. People are literally standing outside wondering, why are there just a few bombers out there? What's going on? Nothing's happened. And they're standing out in the streets. What I'll be linking this slideshow to you as well, so that you can actually see the images and videos that I'll be linking in here, and I'll show you briefly. But some of the lasting effects: there are plenty of survivors of the atomic bombs. One of them is from a very famous story called Sadako and the Thousand Paper Cranes, where it's a middle school, high school girl who survives the atomic bomb, and then later dies several years later from radiation poisoning, which directly caused leukemia, which is blood cancer essentially. And another major lasting effect is that the dropping of the two bombs actually leads us directly to the Cold War. It is the direct cause of the Cold War, because one of the reasons why we dropped the bombs, especially if we go back to this man, Secretary of War Stimson, he wanted to give the Soviet Union a major warning saying, hey, we have these weapons of mass destruction, we don't like you, get involved but don't get too involved, and we're just going to show you this giant weapon we have, just in case you try to start fighting us. So those are the two main lasting effects here. Following, I do have a short video clip from the BBC documentary. If you have Netflix and would wish to watch the entire thing, I highly recommend it. It's by far one of the best documentaries about Hiroshima that exists. Here is another BBC. This is the Children's BBC website. This is a video coming from a survivor as well, by the name of Boone Hashizume. So please watch this as well. Lastly, here is the first of several images. Down the left-hand side is Hiroshima. This is a before and after picture of the dropping of the bomb. And on the right-hand side is Nagasaki. Just take a look at the massive amount of destruction, where you can clearly see all of these different buildings here and how they're just gone. If you're curious as to what this building in the upper left-hand corner of Hiroshima is, that's Hiroshima Castle, which had been in existence for hundreds of years at this point in time. That just gets instantly vaporized. Here's a second image. This is a very famous image from World War II, especially the bomb. This is a man outside the Hiroshima National Bank, or Japanese National Bank in Hiroshima, where you actually have a man who's waiting for the bank to open get instantly vaporized, and you literally see his outline, all that is left of him, that's stained on the stones. I was actually very lucky and was able to actually go to the museum in Hiroshima, and they actually have this preserved in the museum. And this guy, this poor sap, was actually near the epicenter of the bomb itself, so he most likely felt nothing. The legacy of the bomb. So there is a Hiroshima Peace Memorial in the center of Hiroshima, where there is what is called the Genbaku Domu, which is the atomic dome. This is the only standing structure that is still there, that survived and still has survived the dropping of the atomic bomb. The reactions by the Japanese people is that they're very, very much anti-war now. You will see them protest the use of any and all nuclear weapons, any and all weapons of mass destruction. You see, they don't really want to get involved in war at all because of the effects of World War II. Now, Hiroshima as a city, and as well as Nagasaki, have both fully recovered, and they are safe to live in. As you can tell, there are modern buildings everywhere in the backgrounds of these photos. There's also a major shrine, or it's sort of like a shrine, but a memorial to Sadako herself. And every year, millions upon millions of paper cranes are brought to this memorial, in remembrance of her and all the suffering that she had to go through and the suffering that others had to go through as well. If you ever get a chance to go to Japan, please visit this. It's one of the coolest and eeriest places to visit. So, your task for today is I'm going to be opening up a discussion board and you're going to have a digital Socratic seminar. So please do participate in this because this is actually a really, to me personally, it's really important. And also as global citizens, it's a really important question as well. And also just think of the implications of what has happened because of these atomic bombs. So this question you're going to be broadly answering is, should the United States have dropped the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki? I just want you to answer that question. I will provide you with some resources. I'll provide you with sub-questions as well. They'll be linked on Echo to help you out with all of these, with providing a solid and significant answer to this question. This is your opinion. In Socratic seminars, just like you're doing now, there is no right or wrong answer. So, and every so often I will be getting involved as well in the discussion just to prompt a little bit of questions and responses as well. Here are some extra resources for your Socratic seminar. Unfortunately, I haven't checked that this National Geographic documentary on YouTube still exists. I'll be checking it soon after this video. But that is actually a documentary about the bombing of Nagasaki. Everyone hears about Hiroshima, but Nagasaki being the second city to be bombed, no one really hears about that. So as long as the link still works, I highly recommend you go and watch this as well because their experiences, though similar, are very different. In addition, I also have I have a link to the National Security Agency's archives in which they have all these documents and information about the atomic bombs. And I've listed here as to several reasons why we have dropped the bomb, or should we have dropped the bomb. And please go to these different documents to assist you. Use any of the documents to help you. Use any of your background knowledge. Please use any outside research as well. I highly recommend not using Wikipedia because Wikipedia is still, unfortunately, not a reliable resource to cite. Make sure you cite where you get your information in your postings, and please, let's have fun with this. I will be closing the discussion board on Monday. So please make sure that you are following along. Make sure you at least check this once a day for today, tomorrow, and Sunday as well. Unfortunately, because of the snow day, we are not able to do this in person as I would have liked, but please go ahead and take the time for this weekend to do this. Have a wonderful snow day, and I'll see you on Monday where I get to torment you some more in person. See you later.